I am honored and privileged to be here today with the next President of the United States. And I am glad to be here in one of the states that's going to put him over the top. And tomorrow you get to practice doing that when you turn out and vote. You know, with all the noise that surrounds these elections, let's never forget what these elections are. Elections are choices. Now, 4 years ago, this nation made a choice, one that I disagreed with, and I think that, from what I hear today, one that most of you disagreed with. But we made a choice, and the choice was to give Barack Obama a chance to lead this nation. And from the day he took over in January of 2009 to today, he has a record as president. And that record has numbers behind it, like unemployment, which under his watch has gone up, like a debt, which under his watch has gone up, like the value of our homes, which under his watch has gone down. He's no longer a theory. Barack Obama is a reality. And for millions of Americans, today, life is worse than it was 3 years ago because he doesn't know what he's doing. And now, of course, he'll make all kinds of excuses about it, right? It's somebody else's fault. It always is. But the truth is, his party controlled the House and the Senate for 2 years. His first 2 years as president. They would have given him anything he wanted, and they did. They gave him a stimulus that failed. They gave him a health care law that's failing. They gave him regulations that are failing our country. And so we get to choose again. And what we should choose are the things that made America great. This place, Sam, this place that we're today is a testament to America's greatness. When I used to give speeches during my campaign where I would say that one of the great things about America is it was one of the few places in the world where you could start a business out of your parents' garage. Yes, in violation of the zoning code, but you could do it. And one day employ a bunch of people and build a huge business. That's what she's done. And the job of government is to make it easier for people to do that, not harder. And there's only one person running for president. There's only one person that's running for president that understands that. There's only one person that's running for president that's ever helped do that. There's only one choice running for president that will help us reclaim and recapture the things that make this nation of ours different from all the other countries on the earth. And he happens to be here today. His name is Mitt Romney, the next president of the United States.
Thank you. Wow. What a welcome. Wow. I know why you're so excited. I heard that the Flyers beat the Penguins last night, 5-1. That'll do it, huh? That's what did it. Congressman Meehan just confirmed that's exactly what happened. That's why you're so excited today. And maybe because we got Senator Marco Rubio here. Isn't he an extraordinary leader? Wonderful leader in our party. What a terrific welcome. This is just extraordinary. I appreciate your generosity, your willingness to come out. I need your vote tomorrow. Get out and vote in the primary. And you know, the senator was absolutely right. The president came into office with all sorts of dreams about how we bring America together. That sure hasn't happened. Now he's spending his time attacking fellow Americans and dividing us one way or the other. He also said that he was going to have a bit of a report card. You see, 4 years ago at the convention in Denver, when he accepted his party's nomination, he got on the stage, and remember behind him were those Greek columns. Remember that? He won't be standing in front of Greek columns because he doesn't want to remind us of Greece, all right? So he got up and he said how he measures success. He said he measures success by whether people have good jobs that can pay for a mortgage. Well, that's how he measures success. Well, let's measure him on his own measure. He's been in office 3.5 years. Unemployment has been above 8% for 38 straight months, even though he said if we let him borrow $787 billion, he'd keep it below 8%. We read today that 50% of kids coming out of college can't find work, or can't find work that's commensurate with their skill. Unacceptable, unthinkable. This president has failed on the number one measure he described, good jobs for Americans. And then he said, good jobs that could pay for mortgages. How's he done on that? 2.8 million homes foreclosed upon, a record number under this president. He's failed on that. He also said, by the way, he'd measure success by whether incomes were going up or going down. Well, guess how they've gone the last 3.5 years? Down. The median income in America has dropped 10% in the last 4 years, $3,000 during this president's term. He also said he'd judge success by whether people who had an idea would take the risk of starting a business. But during this presidency, the number of people starting a business has dropped by tens of thousands, costing jobs galore. This is a president who, on his own measure, has failed. And so now he's looking around to find someone to blame. And he blames Republicans in Congress. And just as Andy mentioned a moment ago, Republicans didn't have Congress for the first 2 years. The Democrats did. So he's out of ideas, and he's out of excuses. And in 2012, we got to make sure and put him out of office. Now, we sure hope things are getting better. We sure hope the economy's getting better. There's signs that it's getting better. I sure hope it keeps getting better. And the president's going to stand up and say he deserves credit for that. No, if it gets better, it's not because of him, it's in spite of him. And I say that with some evidence, because you look at what he's done and you ask yourself, or you ask Sam here, or you ask anyone else who's in a business, big or small, did what he do help or hurt job creation? And you go through them one by one. So first there was that stimulus I mentioned. That certainly didn't, that was 3.5 years ago. That's not creating jobs today. And then there was Obamacare. Does anyone think that's created more jobs in America? Now, people I talk to in business say they have pulled back from hiring, in part because of the fear of Obamacare and the cost that's going to put on their business. And then there was the regulatory efforts with regards to financial services known as Dodd-Frank. This was designed apparently to try and keep the big banks, you know, the too big to fail banks, from getting bigger. Guess what's happened over the last 3.5 years? They've gotten bigger. And the banks that got hurt? The community banks. The banks that loan to small businesses, to startup businesses. That did not help create jobs. And then there was this labor policy, stacking the National Labor Relations Board with labor stooges that decided that Boeing couldn't build a factory in South Carolina because it was right to work. That hasn't created jobs. You look at this president's record, and there's nothing he's done that's allowed the American entrepreneur to say this is a good time to add jobs and to grow and to expand. This president has been anti-jobs, anti-investment, anti-growth. We're going to make sure that kind of anti-business approach is over in the White House. Now, this is meant to be a town meeting, which means you get to ask questions. And we get to dodge with our answer. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. We'll do our best to answer your questions. But I just want to say one more thing before we turn to you. And that is that this really is an election about the course of America. We're going to decide what America is going to be, not just over the next few years, but over the rest of this century. I had the privilege of speaking with the former First Lady, Barbara Bush. She said, this is the most important election I can remember in my lifetime. Because we face challenges around the world and here at home. And the question is, how are we going to deal with those challenges, and are we going to remain the shining city on a hill we've always been? I believe we'll make the right choice. But it's a very stark contrast between where President Obama would take us and where I'd take us. He has a fundamental belief that government can do a better job guiding our lives and guiding our economy than can free people. And so government gets larger and larger and larger under his vision. Right now, government at all levels, federal, state, and local, consumes about 38% of our economy. And if we let Obamacare stand, it'll be almost half of the economy directly controlled by government. And then if we consider all the regulatory efforts into energy and into healthcare and into automotive and into financial services, government would control directly or indirectly over half of the U.S. economy. We cease being a free economy. That's where he'd take us. My view is we should cap the scale of government at the federal government at 20%. Do not let it get larger than that. Finally return America to the American people and get government out of our life. He seems to be willing to accommodate trillion-dollar deficits. Trillion-dollar deficits. He's amassed $5 trillion of public debt, almost as much as all the prior presidents combined by the end of his fourth year. This is something I find unacceptable. If I'm president, I will cut federal spending, I will cap it, and we'll finally get a balanced budget. The president's vision for America is one where the government thinks it can do a better job than you can deciding what should be in your health insurance policy. I think ultimately they're going to tell you what treatments you can receive. If I'm president, we're going to repeal Obamacare and return responsibility to health care to you.